5 years before Toy Story, Pixar helped push Disney into the digital age by breaking two rules they had spent decades protecting.
I don't like to make sequels to my pictures.
That sequel was The Rescuers Down Under.
I'm looking forward to all of us getting a little crazy.
An animated adventure built on technology designed to replace some of Disney's oldest handmade traditions.
We had never tested the system before we committed to a release date to make a movie.
Oh, you don't want to hear my thoughts. You don't want to hear my thoughts.
But if this overlooked sequel helped launch Disney's digital future and power an entire renaissance, why did they abandon it almost immediately after release and let it get buried? By 1985, Disney was in crisis.
On Monday, we reported that Walt Disney Studios was on shaky financial ground because of its troubled film division and weak earnings.
And nowhere was this crisis more symbolic than in animation. After more than a decade of development, The Black Cauldron arrived to mixed reviews and a loss of over $20 million.
If Uncle Walt were alive now, and doubtless wherever he is, he's keeping a close eye on things.
We've always been afraid of that.
Yes.
The good news was that Disney's new leadership understood animation still mattered and put Walt's nephew, Roy Disney, in charge of restoring its creative soul and technical craft.
And I think the fact that there is a Disney back at Disney now has probably helped us a little bit.
And over the next few years, new talent and new technology helped Disney claw its way back with The Great Mouse Detective and Oliver and Company.
It's preserved the Disney style of animation.
But not even that success solved the deeper problem. These movies were still too slow, too expensive, and too hard to scale into the kind of comeback Disney needed, even with the studio's limited experiments in 3D technology.
Can you really afford to do what you want to do in animation as much as you want to do?
The answer is no, but we're doing it anyway. We have to do in this company.
Meanwhile, competitors were proving they could flood the theaters faster and cheaper by sending animation work overseas. If Disney still wanted to be seen as the gold standard, they couldn't keep letting years pass between releases.
You have made a promise to do one film a year, is that it?
Well, Roy made it. So
We jointly made that one. It's our intent to make a new one every year.
To pull this off, they needed two things: a new technical system that could make animation faster without sacrificing the handmade Disney look, and they needed a test subject.
There's going to somehow be a marriage at Disney between the traditional hand-drawn characters that we've always done and probably computerized backgrounds and scenery and that sort of thing.
The Little Mermaid was already too far along to become this test subject, so Disney turned to the next film in line, The Rescuers Down Under, which just so happened to be the studio's first animated sequel.
We're approaching this film visually. We're trying to make every shot something you're gonna look at and just hit you over the head with, wow, that's an impressive shot. That's an incredible visual.
And for the system, they turned to a Bay Area company that most moviegoers had never heard of, Pixar, then known for state-of-the-art commercials and award-winning animated shorts.
As Pixar, we've established ourselves as leaders in the technology for image computing. We are very excited by the many uses of this technology.
The thing was, time was not on their side. To meet the release date, Disney would have to gamble its first animated sequel on Pixar's system before the technology had ever been proven at large scale, and somehow still make the result feel like a traditionally animated Disney movie.
We spent a lot of money building the CAP system, and it was really the basis of what was to come in terms of the 3D animation process. It was the engine that drove everything else forward.
On the surface, The Rescuers Down Under was a strange test case. Why risk the sequel to one of Disney's most successful post-Walt animated films on a technology that had never carried a full feature?
The Rescuers Down Under is Disney's first ever animated sequel.
Simply wonderful.
Set in the rugged outback of Australia, it's an action-adventure tale that began taking shape here at the Disney Studios in Hollywood.
But this wasn't a small rescue mission. This sequel was built for scale. Huge Australian landscapes, a larger-than-life eagle, sweeping flight scenes, and danger around every corner. Exactly the kind of movie that could prove whether digital tools could carry the Disney look at the speed the studio needed.
Throw another shrimp in a Barbie, girls, 'cause here I come!
Here we go again!
Cannonball!
But using rescuers to rebuild Disney's technical foundation was a much bigger gamble than the crew was ready for. Pixar systems still had to be built. Hundreds of artists and crew members had to be trained, and the film had to keep moving through a process almost nobody had used before: the Computer Animation Production System, or CAPS.
That gives us not only the opportunity to do some really good art, but it also gives us the opportunity to really begin to explore what these computers and graphics things can do for us.
At its core, CAPS compressed several steps of the traditional animation assembly line into one digital system. Once an animator's drawing was scanned in, it could be painted, layered with backgrounds and effects, and moved through a digital camera without ever leaving the computer. Technically, CAPS had been tested before, once for TV, and then in a small scene at the end of The Little Mermaid, but The Rescuers Down Under would be the first full animated feature built with it, and the technology was still raw.
What I remember most of that period was feeling so brokenhearted that we had attempted to make a feature film using the CAPS system before anyone had even made a short with it.
Instead of speeding everything up, CAPS created bottlenecks of its own. Scanning errors forced artists to redo finished work, slow processing times backed up the pipeline, and software bugs made colors shift from one system to another. The technology that was supposed to make the animation more efficient had made The Rescuers production anything but.
3 o'clock in the morning, and Peter Snyder walks in and looks over at me and goes, "Well, is it working yet? Is it working yet?" And it's like, oh, I don't need this pressure.
Disney and Pixar kept grinding through the process around the clock, fighting the system and the schedule right up until the last second. And yet, despite everything they had been up against, they had somehow managed to deliver exactly what Disney needed: the classic-looking animated feature that almost nobody would guess had been built digitally. But even though the team and technology had survived, The Rescuers Down Under still had to make it through something Disney couldn't control: the brutal holiday movie season of 1990.
I think the problem is going to be, how do you choose which to see first and which ones are going to suffer for that?
Are they going to crowd each other out, Leonard?
I think they are, Mary, because after all, you can only see so many movies in a given week.
The Rescuers Down Under hit theaters on November 16th, 1990, right as the holiday box office was turning into a traffic jam.
Last year, Walt Disney Pictures brought you an animated motion picture that became an instant classic and captured the hearts of audiences of all ages. Now, you're invited to experience the same kind of magic.
Disney tried to sell The Rescuers as the next piece of post-Mermaid magic, but that was easier said than done. In the holiday crush, it was competing for attention against much louder stories. Sequels like Rocky V and Child's Play 2 were taking press attention, but Home Alone was the real juggernaut, quickly becoming the family movie event of the holiday season.
These people leave their beautiful homes and presents on Christmas.
And The Rescuers had its own identity problem. It was a sequel to an older Disney film, built more like an action-adventure spectacle than the musical fairy tale template audiences had just been told was Disney's future.
It's not, however, a great original leap like The Little Mermaid. No. It's just a real good, competent, well-made, exciting, action animated film.
And yes, it was a technical achievement, but Disney did not want the digital nature of CAPS to become the story of its animated films. So the movie's most important breakthrough stayed mostly hidden until the studio publicly pulled back the curtain almost 4 years later. Caught in that strange middle ground, The Rescuers Down Under opened to just $3.5 million its opening weekend. And while it improved slightly in week 2, studio chairman Jeffrey Katzenberg had already decided that Disney was done fighting for it.
Jeffrey pulled all the TV advertising. And I said, Jeffrey, I just can't believe that you've pulled it. There's no advertising, nothing. And he said, Tom, the movie doesn't work. It's over.
The movie that had quietly proven Disney's future was suddenly being treated like yesterday's problem. And by the end of its theatrical run, the film had earned around $47 million worldwide, but not nearly enough to escape the label of a box office bomb. But inside Disney, this was not seen as a total failure.
It's over. And I started to cry on the telephone. And then he said, it's okay. We're going to move forward.
Behind the scenes, the rescuers down under had done something far more important than just being profitable. It proved caps could carry a feature, and as Disney turned to their next production, and the one after that, the system was no longer experimental. For Walt Disney Animation, caps was the future.
Sorry, I forgot. Okay. I was about to blow chunks. Sorry. Okay. To present the next award, two of our newest stars.
One's a beauty.
You know what? One's a beast.
And that's the only clue we're gonna give you.
While the Rescuers Down Under is often thought of as the overlooked stepchild of the Renaissance era, its legacy through caps is unmatched. Without first carrying audiences across the expansive Australian outback, Disney wouldn't have been able to transport us to a faraway castle under a beastly curse, a whole new world above Agrabah, the Pride Lands, or any of the 2D animated worlds that followed, all the way through Home on the Range.
Hey, partner, curb your livestock. This town is clean.
不要钱的牛啊！哇，好棒呀，国家！Giddy up!
And while Rescuers Down Under was proving Pixar could help power Disney's future from behind the scenes, that same Bay Area company was entering talks to develop a groundbreaking animated feature where toys have a life of their own.
I was pretty much embarrassed with what was on the screen.
They just had one nasty pull-string cowboy to save first.
Who said your job was to think, Spring Wiener?
But to see how that future collapsed before it even arrived, check out my video on the darker Toy Story that Disney nearly killed.